Welcome back, folks. So I've been sitting on the sidelines, eating popcorn, and watching two groups of people going at it, cursing each other out, and going for their throats, talking about the new mechanics for the overmatching system in 9.17. So if you're not aware of this, but with 9.17, we are having an overhaul to the overmatching mechanics. So originally we have the 2x or 3x caliber rule. The 2x rule states that if your gun's diameter is more than double of your opponent's nominal armor value, then you'll get a normalization angle bonus to your penetration. If it's 3 times larger, then you will ignore the sloping of their armor and automatically overmatch if you have enough penetration. So yeah, that's the new system. It removes the old 2x or 3x caliber rule with this auto bounce angle. So in layman's term, you'll get an auto bounce angle of, was it like 14 degrees for 3x caliber rule. So that means you can no longer overmatch if you're playing a higher caliber gun onto a lower armor value vehicle and he is at a 14 degree sloping. So this will buff side scraping as well as buffing the sloped thinly armored plates of vehicles like the IS-3's gun access port on top of the turret or the Object 140's turret. So a lot of people are worried that some of the Russian tanks, OP-ass Russian tanks, are even getting more buffed from this system. And another group of people are saying that it's pretty good for the side scraping and pretty good for some of the other tanks like the mediums to bounce a little bit more shells. So why are you complaining about it? But before I give you my opinion about this new system, I want you to watch Quickybaby's description of the whole new mechanics in his video. I'll post it into the description below, as well as Valachio. Is that Italian? That's Italian. But he also did the same kind of concept with his demonstration of the penetration of the armor. So I recommend you watching these two videos. But overall, do not worry about this new mechanic. So it's nothing to be frightened of. The Russian tanks are not getting super OP even more. So it's not a great buff or even a buff to the Russian tanks or any other tanks. So I'll debunk and demystify, if that's a word, the concept behind these new mechanics for the overmatching of the gun penetration. So first of all, this picture is wrong, like super wrong. That's not 76 degrees. That's not even close. So this is the actual angle of the overmatching or auto bouncing zones. So here you can see with between 1 times or 2 times the caliber to the nominal armor value, you'll get an 18 degree of auto bouncing angle. As for 2 times or above, you get a 16 degree auto bounce angle. If it's 3 times, it's 14 degrees. The STRV 103 has a 12 degree of sloping, so that's its sloping. But this greatly benefits the S-Tank to auto bounce all the shots it receives based on the sloping of the 3x rule, the new 3x rule, which is 14 degrees of auto bouncing zone. So the main question to ask yourself is, if your gun has blah blah blah, would you be comfortable with 18 degrees of auto bouncing angle or 16 degrees or 14 degrees? That's the main question. But it's not really that scary if you think about it or analyze it completely. So what I mean is, well, let's just calm your fears right now. Let's take a look at the Object 140 right here. So originally it has a weak turret and you can overmatch it because it's only 30mm at the top and 37 for a rim. But you'll be facing Object 140s like this, right? And he'll probably be circle strafing you while you're playing a mouse or E75. So you're trying to shoot downwards into the turret. And a lot of people are complaining that with the new system, it will bounce your shells. Well, let's take a look. So you're shooting downwards right here, right? So you're shooting downwards, you're shooting at his turret. Yeah, current system with 120mm AP shell, you'll overmatch and automatically penetrate his turret. But take a notice of the angles. Did you see that on the bottom? It's 72 degrees of sloping right now based on the angles of your gun and the turret to the horizontal plane of existence. So yeah, it's only 72 degrees. that means you'll penetrate with the new system. So the new system does not exactly remove all the weak spots from Russian tanks. So it only benefits like higher tier vehicles or high vehicles with larger silhouettes to shoot downwards, and also benefits the vehicles trying to block all the shells from same level heighted vehicles. So what I mean is, if you're still playing the mouse, if you're still playing E100s and shooting downwards into the Object 140's turret, you'll still penetrate, alright? The new system means even at this sloping, that's the usual sloping you'll see, or even higher, like even higher sloping, you'll be able to penetrate the Object 140's turret based on the new system of the angles of auto bounce. So here you can see it's 73 degrees. You'll penetrate, alright? You only bounce, auto bounce at, was it like 74? 76. So you'll be auto bouncing and you'll miss your shots only at 76 degrees. It's 76 degrees. It's at 73 degrees. So you'll still be able to penetrate at this angle, alright? Don't be afraid. It's fine. Everything's fine. At this is, yeah, that's the actual close to the auto bouncing zone right here. 76. Right here. So, yep, 76 as you see on the little picture. But if you're tall enough, you'll still be able to penetrate these weak spots on the Russian tanks. So, in reality, it's a buff to the Object 140. Yes, but not as greatly as you might expect. So only buffs vehicles that are trying to shoot at you from the same level height as your vehicle. So what I mean is, if you're playing another Object 140 against another Object 140, you'll be at the same level height as the Object 140. So you're trying to shoot at his turret, and that's the auto bounce angle. So you cannot go for the turret anymore if you're at the same level height as your opponent. You have to go towards the cupola right here, or the top of the cupola. But yeah, it's a buff, but not as crazy as you would think, as you know, against vehicles that are taller than you. So if you're playing an E100, you're still shooting downwards, and that will penetrate. That will penetrate. So analyze it completely. So do not, cause a panic. Nothing is to be afraid. You will still be able to penetrate Object 140s. You'll still be able to penetrate his cheeks right here. So make sure you just shoot well, and you'll still be able to shoot and penetrate. So 74, as you saw right there. Even though there are some parts that are 80. So as long as your vehicle is taller, like an E100's gun, shooting downwards, you'll penetrate 74, 74, 77, that's auto bounce, 71, 71. So there are angles that you'll still be able to penetrate. It's not like you're ignoring or erasing all these weak spots. You'll still be able to penetrate. Just make sure your vehicle is taller and not on the same plane or same height as the Object 140. But it does not also benefit Russian tanks. So a lot of people are complaining that Russian tanks are already OP and you're buffing them even more from this new system. Not true. Not really true. Russian tanks are mostly low-level, small vehicles. The IS-3 is relatively short in height compared to stuff like the Tiger II or the T-34. So they'll still be able to shoot downwards into your commander's cupola or into your gun access port and still penetrate. But let's take a look at the IS-3 just for another example. So vehicles like the IS-3, yep, once you have a same level height, so you're playing the Tiger II or E75, you're shooting downwards into his cupola right here. So that's auto bounce, but if you face hug enough and pull your gun a little bit more, you'll still be able to penetrate his cupola or his gun access port. So it's not a definitive weak spot anymore, but you still could be able to shoot through it. So it's not like complete overhaul of all the weak spots. No, it's not like that. You'll still be able to penetrate, and it's still relatively weak on the gun access port, but you still have to make sure that your vehicle is tall enough to shoot downwards into it. So just don't panic. Nothing to be worried about. But it does not also mean that only Russian tanks are getting buffed. Nobody talks about the other vehicles will be benefited from this new system. vehicles like the T-32, amazing now because you cannot get overmatched with the turret roof. So let's take a look at the T-32 or T-34. I mean, T-32 is already pretty OP. So T-34 wise, yeah, when you're getting shot at when you're hauled down in the T-34 by a Russian 122, they're sniping you at your cupola and shooting you across the map. You'll get penetrated from the turret roof just because it's only 38mm. But with the new system, it's auto bounce. Shooting at this angle right here, that's auto bounce. That's auto bounce. Unless your vehicle is taller, you still could be able to penetrate. That's a 67-degree angle, so you'll penetrate, but that's a 72-degree angle. So if your vehicle is somehow taller than the T-32 or T-34, you'll still be able to penetrate his turret roof. It's not a complete removal of all the weak spots, but it does benefit these vehicles because they buff this armor plate right here. So if your vehicle is still taller right here, you'll still be able to penetrate the hull on the little roof thing right here. But at a distance, it's not like you can shoot across the map with the Russian 122 and somehow hits this angle right here and it penetrates because overmatching system. So that's bullshit in my honest opinion. You're sniping across the map at my roof at this degree angle and you'll still penetrate? Bullshit. So about the new system, it's pretty good in my honest opinion because it benefits side scraping a lot more than benefiting these small weak spots on vehicles with better sloping. So it benefits proper side scraping. It benefits the tactic of using side scraping. So vehicles like the new Chrysler K would be amazing with this new 14 degrees of auto bouncing zone or even 16 degrees of auto bounce. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, think about it twice. Play with it yourself in Tank Inspector and see which angles are auto bounce. So the main question still is the same. Would you be comfortable with the auto bouncing angle of whatever degree? But in the end, I think this is a proper buff. It's a buff to play the vehicles for a lot longer because it's harder to shoot at you and overmatch the system. So all survivability of all the vehicles are increased, thus making the game a little bit more impactful or longer, and has a passive buff to the heavy tanks or tanks that performs well if you slope correctly. So it's like the sandbox, but not exactly like the sandbox. Sandbox is dramatic, nerf the penetration of every vehicle. That's super dramatic. But with this system, it's actually quite fine. I like it. I really like it. So it's a passive buff to all the vehicles if they're properly sloped and playing to their strengths. Then yeah, I like it. So don't panic. It's a fine system. All the weak spots are still the same. So go for the weak spots if your vehicle is tall enough. But yeah, everything's fine. It's not the end of the world. So try it out yourself. Test it on the 9.17 test server. And thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Meaning